Remember Frank Darabont and Vinny Chase were going to make a Ferrari movie? I'm beginning to wonder if I prefer that one over this because I have been waiting for this movie for a hot minute since director Michael Mann did Ford v Ferrari, which I loved. I loved that movie. This one came a hair under my expectations, and I'll tell you why. I thought it was okay. I preferred a different movie though. Now, what I like about what director Michael Mann does here is he does capture relationships very well, especially between men, like this showdown between men. I think he captures very well, like in Heat. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, that showdown between them, that tug of war, I think he captures it like nobody's business, director Michael Mann does. And what he does with this film, it's really beautiful. There was an interview, I saw this a couple days ago, and there's an interview at the end of the movie where he talks about how he filmed it and how he wanted the sound to be designed. He captured it in a way that the best experience you'll have watching it, like opening weekend, will be in Dolby Cinema specifically because of the sound surrounding your body, like when in the seats, how it pulsates from the seats. That's how he designed it. And there are bursts and explosions of sound in this film, almost like a jump scare. Like there are a couple of places where it just catches you off guard, the sound, and he films it. It's cinematically beautiful. The story takes place in 57 in Italy. And so it is captured beautifully. I think he really did encapsulate the moment, that era. And when the cars are on the track, it's filmed, the angles that he captures of the car, all of the muscle. It looked and felt like, you know how those boxing movies are, how they condition themselves to prepare for the big fight. It felt like that's how he captured the movement of the rubber on the track gripping the road, and the metal hugging the curves, it's captured beautifully. And though the story seems to drag in a direction I didn't prefer, those bursts of energy and sound on the track livens it a lot. I'll say that. The movie does lose momentum. It's 2 hours and 4 minutes, I believe. It's over 2 hours long, the runtime. And there's such a lag and a lull in certain places that I felt myself yearning for a better story, because this felt like such a traditional biopic, and it felt very seen it all before to me in certain places. There is a story I would have preferred that takes place in the third act. And that third act really livened me up. It really got me emotional, but the rest of it just seemed to drag on. So this takes place in 57. Enzo Ferrari, he has created a machine that is number one in the world. It's the fastest thing on the road. I mean, nothing can beat it. Now, Maserati takes the record for a second, but then Ferrari is obsessed with taking it back. And so we see this story follows his obsession of maintaining his status as number one on the track, despite everything else that's failing around him. His marriage is failing. His brand is failing because he's producing 150 or whatever a year of this vehicle. And he is adamant that he won't make any more. He wants it to feel like you're getting a diamond, that there aren't a lot out there. And that's still the brand. But he's obsessed with it being the number one race car, and he really doesn't care about the sales. And he's on the verge of bankruptcy because he has messy relationships, and he really doesn't run his business the way it should be run. In fact, his wife, played by Penelope Cruz, is holding it all together for him despite his gallivanting and carrying on with all of these other women, one in particular played by Shailene Woodley, who has a secret baby by him and a son, heir to his fortune, which is what he really wanted all along. He wants this heir to be his legacy. And he had a son with Penelope Cruz, with his wife, I'll say, but he died unexpectedly, and Penelope Cruz is distraught. She is grief stricken, but she has to, maintain it all to save him financially, even though he doesn't care. I think that it's a fine movie. I just wanted something else, and I'll get into that. But what I want to pinpoint, the performances. I didn't think that Adam Driver was the best Enzo Ferrari. I'm just keeping it 100. I don't think he was the best Ferrari. He did not at all have the Italian accent nailed down. I kept thinking, this is very Jared Leto-ish. Like, this is not an Italian accent. Meanwhile, Penelope Cruz is fantastic. She masters the Italian accent. She's been in more movies where she utilized an Italian accent, as recently as her series playing Donatella Versace a few years ago. She cleans his clock in every scene. She is so great in this movie. She steals every scene she's in. And I am confident that she's going to get an Oscar nomination for this role. She is so good. She has so many Oscar-y moments. She has so many moments. There is a moment in the third act. Now he's messy boots. There's a tragedy. Everybody's blaming him for this tragedy. And he's about to leave his wife for his side piece. About to leave her. He's bankrupt. He doesn't care. He just wants to be there and tell the world that he actually has another son. And she petitions him not to do this because it's going to ruin his business and ruin his brand and devastate her, because she gave him a son that died and he went out there and had a secret son. And she begs him, don't accept him in public while she's alive, and she'll take care of him financially and that whole bit. This scene just proves that Penelope Cruz is so good. She's such a great actress. She is so good in this movie. And she livens up the movie every time she's on screen. The rest of it seems to just lull in this traditional biopic-y type of drama that we've seen 100 times. And I just felt myself yearning for something else. And then there's the tragedy. This racer is obsessed with being number one and winning, but the car hits something in the road and splits the tire, and the driver loses control, and the car kills him and 8 other bystanders that were watching the race, including children. And it was just so devastating. And it was such a shock. Like, you knew something was about to happen, and it happens, and you're just like in shock. Like, my jaw was on the floor. Now, I knew this happened, but the way it's filmed is just like almost a jump scare. And I just felt like I would have preferred to follow that story, because Ferrari's response and the investigation surrounding it just felt like a better story than this love triangle between Shailene Woodley's character, Adam Driver's character, and Penelope Cruz's character and his mother. It felt like I just wanted something more or something different than the traditional biopic. And so I think it's a fine movie. It looks good, it sounds good, and Penelope Cruz is good in it. If you're looking for something new and refreshing, that's not this. But if you love Michael Mann movies, then you're going to get that Michael Mann movie, you know, The Insider, Miami Vice, Collateral, Heat. You're going to get that Michael Mann movie. And that's great. It's worth seeing in the theater because you're going to get a good movie. I just yearned for more. I really did. But at any rate, Ferrari is in wide release this weekend. For the best experience, if you can, see it in Dolby or IMAX.